friends, it's Christy. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be making a card using the Lawn Fawn Happy Harvest, the Happy Summer Mini, and the Doodlebug Down on the Farm 6x6 pattern paper pad. I've stamped my images on some Copic friendly cardstock with Memento Tuxedo black ink, and I'm going to be coloring with my Copic markers today. I'm going to start with my watermelon, and for that I'm using R22, R24, and R29. This red combination has a pink undertone, so it's going to work perfect for a watermelon. So I'm starting with that R29 and doing a shadow, not really a shadow, but just kind of where the juice is more concentrated close to the rind. And then I'm blending with the R24, and then the lightest part, which is going to be the center of the watermelon where it was cut, is going to be the R22. And I'm just making sure to blend really well so I have a nice transition there. Next I'll be using G20, G21, G24, and G28. I'm going to use the G20 to color in just that little center strip where it has kind of the whitish part of the rind. I wanted it to have just a little bit of a green cast to it, so I used that really light green. And then I'm going to come in with the G24 for the actual part of the rind and blend that out with the G21. Then I'm going to come back with the G28 and do some stripes. So I'm just trying to space them out evenly. I started in the center so I could make sure that I have them kind of equal on both sides, and then just do a little scribble mark. For my 3 crows, I'll be using some warm grays. I'm using W5, W7, and W9. And starting with that W9, I'm going to do a little bit of shadow on their wings and towards the bottom of their bodies, and then kind of accentuate the back or the sides of their head depending which direction they're facing. And I also did a little shadow on the one on the far right underneath his beak. Then I'm taking the W7 and blending out the W9. I want to make sure that I don't color too much of the crows with the darker colors because I don't want them to get lost. So I'm saving lots of room for that lightest shade, the W5, and I'll make sure that I blend out the edge of the W7 really well. The danger with coloring crows, or any critter really that's a dark shade, is that the features can get lost really easily. So you have to be careful that you don't cover up like their eyes and their nose too much, or they kind of just look faceless. So I'm making sure that I use that lightest shade to go over the area where the eyes are. And then I debated whether or not to color in the beaks in black. I could have also done orange, but crows do have black beaks, so I decided to go with the W9 and the W7. And I left off the W5 just to have a little bit more of a difference between the beaks and the rest of their bodies. Then I'm going to take a Sakura black jelly roll pen and go over their eyes just to make them really stand out, and they get nice and glossy and shiny. And then I'll just trim these out with the matching dies. For my focal panel, I've cut a square using the Lawn Fawn cross-stitched square stackables, and then I use the grassy border dies and the simple hillside border dies to cut out 2 different shades of green. I'll grab the Lawn Fawn glue tube and add a bead of glue to the bottom of the darker green grassy border. My glue tube is running out a little bit there, so I just had to shake the glue down to the tip. And then I'm going to adhere that back behind the lighter green hill. Then I'll just flip that over and add some more glue to the back of that and adhere that down to the focal panel. I've used the smallest of the Lawn Fawn Spring Showers Clouds dies to cut out a little white cloud. So I'm just going to remove that from the die using the back of my pick-me-up tool, and I'm going to adhere that down in sort of the top right corner just to help set my scene. I've added some foam tape to the back of all of my images, so I'm going to start with the watermelon. I'm going to put it at kind of an angle because I want the crow in the center to be standing on it, and since it is a round rind, that would tilt it one way or the other, so I just tilted it in the direction that I have him sitting on, so I put him kind of just a little bit off center. Then I'm going to have the flying crow up in the top right corner, and the last crow I'm going to put down towards the left-hand side, so he's kind of nibbling on his little watermelon as well. So they're all having a little picnic. For my sentiment, I'm going to take the frame from Say Cheese again. This is the larger of the two in that set, and I'm going to stamp using Noble Fur ink. I'm stamping out the phrase "Let's Celebrate," and that is from the Holiday Party Animal stamp set. And I stamped that down twice to get a really good impression. And that ink is going to match the stripes on our watermelon rind. While I have my MISTI out, I'm also going to stamp on the inside of my card. And again, I'm using Lawn Fawn Noble Fur ink, and this is actually Noble Fur cardstock that I'm using for my card base. So I'm stamping Happy Birthday from the Party Animal stamp set, and then I have the ants and the watermelon from Happy Summer. I've trimmed down my pattern paper using the Lawn Fawn outside in stitch rectangle stackables that trims off just 1/8 of an inch around the outside edge, plus gives it that nice stitching detail. And I thought that this pattern would work really well because it's kind of like a picnic blanket, which was kind of the concept of the card. I wanted my crows to be able to have a little picnic. And so I'm going to adhere that down, and having that green cardstock on the outside edge is kind of going to mimic the watermelon. So it's going to tie together nicely. Then I'm going to take my Polaroid frame from Say Cheese again and adhere that down to the card front. And I'm going to tilt it just a little bit so it's at an angle, just to kind of mimic how the watermelon is also tilted on the card. I'll add some glue into the center of that cutout and pop my focal panel right inside, and it's a perfect fit. Just press that down into place. And then I felt like it needed just a little something to anchor it to the card, so I took a little bit of this wood grain washi tape. I thought this would be kind of a cool nod to the picnic theme because it kind of reminds me of a picnic table surface. So I'm just tearing it into little strips. I didn't want the whole size, and adhering a piece to the top and the bottom of the Polaroid. As a finishing touch, I'm going to take some glossy accents, and I'm going to add that to each of the crow's beaks. So that's just going to further accentuate the beaks and kind of help it stand out apart from the rest of its face. And then I'm also going to add some to the red part of the watermelon just to make it look nice and juicy. And that comes out kind of cloudy when you first apply it, but it's going to dry perfectly clear. And that is going to complete our card for today. There's another look at that glossy accents and a peek at the inside. I thought this was a fun mix of spring and summer Lawn Fawn sets. That's kind of my favorite thing about Lawn Fawn, is that their images are so easy to mix and match. If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I would love to have your support. And if you want to make sure that my videos always end up in your feed, just go ahead and ring that notification bell. Here's 2 extra videos you may also enjoy. Hopefully those will tide you over until my next one. Until then, I hope you all have an amazing day. Bye-bye.